What is up, my ninjas? I am Strydent, and welcome to another video. I am sorry that it took so long. Happy New Year. I'm sorry. This is just, I don't know. This has been one of those videos where I'm like, are you kidding me with how long it's taken for this to get done? I'm gonna probably start using a different, or look into using a different editing software, because I use Filmora right now. I was exclusively all about Filmora, but we have too many updates that don't fix things that I actually need fixed or that I feel people could benefit from. Case in point, you move something in the beginning of a video after you've finished and you're going back and you're looking at the whole video to make sure everything's good, and you erase the thing in the front and it throws off everything in the back. It like moves everything forward, like when it comes to effects and sometimes the actual audio. So I spent a long time going back through this to line everything back up to make sure that I'm not losing things. So, you know, one of the issues I've been dealing with, and just, you know, a lot of other tiny little things. But good news is, during the time I was making this video, and actually before I made the video, upgraded my job, so I'm in a better spot, much better spot. I have a little bit more flexibility, so that's nice. And also it means now there's a bunch of stuff I have, you know, in my wish list that I can actually get without feeling guilty. You know what I mean? Now, beyond a shadow of a doubt, I can do that. So you may see some slightly different stuff in some of the reviews to come. But I'm going to stop talking. You guys have waited long enough. I think it's time for us to get into this this video, and as you know, this is the most fun and most unfun of the year of 2022, which was a great year for figures. This is what you're gonna see, something similar to this for the fun, you know, most fun, and then you're gonna see something similar to this for the most unfun. If you know, you know, with the background. Before we get started, give me a like, a share, subscribe if you're not already subscribed. Give me a dislike if you don't like this shit. You know, it all helps, because, you know, the way the algorithm works, nobody knows what I'm doing and they don't share my shit without it. So I'm gonna give you a second. Cool. Now let's knuckle up and get this show on the road. All right, and as is the custom, the tradition here on my channel, we're going to start with Unfun. And first up is number 8, the Neca Usagi Yojimbo figure. Now, I know some of you were looking at this figure like, what? How could you not have fun with Usagi Yojimbo? It's a couple things, and it could be one of those, you know, mileage things, you know, where my particular copy had some issues, but I've heard enough people say the same thing about this figure that I kind of think it's not an isolated incident. Number one, I know that it's cartoon accurate for him to have the smaller swords, but he didn't look right. So I gave him swords from the Articulated Icon Ninjas, and they look better because they're the right kind of like Wakizashi style, you know, longer sword, and he looks like he could kill someone with it. But the problem is that his hands suck. The pegs in his hands are like too thin, I guess, and then the recess in which the pegs go is too shallow. So when you pose him a certain way, after you move his hands a couple times, he will drop those swords out of his hands. The swords themselves that he comes with, they're so dainty and they look like children's swords, you know, like play swords. So I was like, yo, they gotta go. They gotta go. So, you know, even the sheaths, both sheaths are connected together. So for those who don't play with their figures, it's fine. But if you do, you want to, you know, switch them up. And that's what I did. And see here, you can kind of see that it's coming out of the peg hole, just holding his sheath. Looks good, but, you know. So I didn't like this tiny little sword situation, and his hands suck. So I switched them to make him palatable, but, you know, I shouldn't have to make changes. And on top of that, the poor QC when it comes to the hands, Nah, that's not good. But everything else about this figure is pretty good. So, you know, he's not a complete loss. That's why he's way at the end of this. So we are now on number 7. The McFarlane Dark Knight Returns Superman. And I have a guest with me.
Oh, hello.
Yeah, this ODC is joining me, so we're gonna go through the rest of these together. And this figure here, it's not a crappy figure. It's just that head sculpt on that fucking Dark Knight Returns Superman is just bad. It's just bad. It's he looks like a Muppet. For lack of a better word. He looks like a Muppet, but the cool thing about the figure is if you take that head off,
Kind of looks like Beaker.
yeah. But if you take that head off and use any of the older heads, then you know, and replace it, then you have a pretty decent Superman that's built like the Dark Knight Returns universe. You know, the versions of Superman and Batman in that are freaking jacked. So, you know, you get a better face on that hulking style body, and it's not even that much bigger than the standard one. So you could even use it as a standard Superman, but you shouldn't have to. You know what I mean?
And don't get us wrong. Like we get it.
Yeah.
It looks like what you call it, Frank Miller's shitty artwork. But it still looks like a goddamn Muppet.
Yeah, he looks like a Muppet for real. So yeah, that one it's unfun stock, but you can still have fun with it. So yeah, he makes it on the list because of that. This is number 6. And number 6 is actually, this is ODC's, one of his, I think from this point, the majority of these are unfuns from him. I only had a few. This is Time Force Blue from the Lightning Collection. And because of changes that Hasbro has had with their factories and shit, you're starting to see it in the quality of these figures, or the lack of quality in these figures. So here, you take it away, man. Let him have it.
Oh, where to begin here, Time Force Blue? As you'll see in the photos, I'm sure, you'll see the just absolute. It. You know what this reminds me of? It reminds me of those old multi-packs from the early Hasbro Marvel Legends days, where they would do like a 3-pack or a 2-pack, and like the paint would be just the shits.
Yeah.
Just the absolute explosive diarrhea, green apple splatter shit.
Green apple splatter.
Green apple splatter shit. The paint apps on this figure are absolutely positively some of the worst.
Yeah.
Some of the worst line work I've ever seen.
We can actually start from the head.
Hasbro product in at least 10 or 15 years.
From the head down too, like the freaking visor, the line work around the visor is bad on the helmet. The way that the parts fit, they don't fit. You know, they don't fit properly, at least. You know, there's like a ton of little issues with the way that this figure was put together on everything. What was the only thing I didn't get from the pictures is the bike. What was the issue on the bike?
Absolutely no issue with the bike.
Okay.
The bike is the selling point of the entire set.
Cool.
The bike is built perfectly. It's got weight to it. It stands. It rolls. It has rubber tires. That's the selling point.
Cool.
The figure, which should be the selling point,
It's garbage.
is not the selling point.
Yeah. That's a shame.
I wish they just sold the damn bike by itself.
Yeah, they should do that.
I would have bought the bike by itself. It's quality.
Yeah, they should have done that. I would have done the same with the Omega Ranger, because I missed out on him because I didn't really want to buy both. I don't care about vehicles for these 6-inch figures because they're so big, and I'm not going to be able to get all the vehicles, and the Zords are never to scale. So why do I need? You know what I mean? Like I don't need those vehicles. So
Yeah.
But yeah.
And you'll see in some of the other photos that I put, like, so the bike is aces across the board.
Yeah.
The only one issue I had with the bike was that the symbol for Time Force Blue on the top of the bike for the symbol
Yeah.
was a little bit off centered. That's it.
Yeah.
But I'm not gonna bitch and moan about it because it's a good bike.
Yeah. Yeah.
The other issues that I did point out, like you'll see a zoomed in close up photo of his chest. You'll see all of the blue from the actual plastic coming through because they only did like one coat of white on him.
Yeah, that's always a problem with Hasbro and light colors.
Dollar General shit right there.
Yeah, you don't do that.
That's absolutely unacceptable. On top of that, the legs these are some of the worst legs I've ever experienced.
Yeah, nothing
the
fits.
Hips, because they have these drop down hips, and I've been saying this since they started drop down hips. Hasbro has no business being in the drop down hip department.
Yeah.
Leave that to Figuarts. They've mastered it. Until you can master it, stay away from it.
Exactly.
He can't stand. Like if I got him to stand sometimes, but I have to have him on the bike the bike has to keep him propped up.
Yeah.
These are some of the worst legs I've ever experienced on an action figure. Period.
Yeah, and that's why they make the list because the quality is going down, and they were relatively simple figures that were usually well done. So it's kind of sad that that's the case. You know what I mean? But
yeah. And it's not just mine either.
Yeah.
This isn't a subjective thing. There's hundreds of people that I have seen.
Mm-hmm.
And if someone wants to call me out on it, I have proof. I will post all of the issues that have been foreseen, and even there's other YouTubers that have posted about theirs having issues too.
Of course.
So,
of course.
If anybody wants to call me out, it's not just mine. It's across the board. I'm telling you.
Yep. So it deserves its place on our list. So, and it's weird because this isn't just like you said, it's not just on this figure. It's everything. Like you were talking about the Ninjetti. They were going to be on the list too. Why would the Ninjetti going to be on the list?
Really piss poor quality control. I was just talking about Time Force Blue, but it more so goes with the articulation with the Ninjetti, and the paint apps too. The paint apps are pretty bad on the Ninjetti.
And it's weird because they're just one color, and then they have like little accents throughout the costume. Yep. So if you fuck that up, you kind of just suck. Like
they screwed the pooch on the white accents and then the black accents even on Tommy.
That's terrible.
On top of that, thigh swivel snapping very easily, and this isn't to carelessness either on any collector's part. I mean, I've literally seen videos of people take the figure out of package, and the arm will fall right off, and not in a good way where you just plug it back in. Ankle snapping very easily, just articulating the hinge joint up and down.
Which means they changed
like I said,
their plastics.
Hip joints snapping so easily.
See, that's no good, man. I thought we passed this. Like, who doesn't know the correct mix to make your figures withstand base level, play? Like, just articulating them. Like, that's bullshit. It should never be a problem to pose your figure or to get them out the package. It's just straight up garbage, just hot drizzling shit.
Well, that's fundamental design flaws. Like that's just, these are fundamental things that you need with an action figure for it not to fail.
Yeah.
Is if it has the articulation, it has to be able to be used.
Exactly.
That's fundamentally a failure.
And a lot of what you see on this list is that, where like some of the fundamentals are missed, and that's what makes them less fun. Like our next entry. Now we're on number 5, and this is the Jazzwares World of Halo, or Spartan collection actually. Master Chief from Halo 5, it looks like. So, you know me, I checked out of these figures like 2 years ago. What's making you check out of them now?
Finally. Oh God. So I gave them the benefit of the doubt, and I was like, it's early in the line. I'll keep supporting the line. I love aesthetically the way these figures look. They look amazing. I love the size. I love the fact that they're even in scale with McFarlane figures. I think it's perfect scale with those two.
Oh, the new McFarlane stuff. Yeah.
Yes, correct. Um, and you know, I I don't know. I thought aesthetically they look great on a shelf. As soon as you touch these figures, they're a mess.
Yep.
And they're a mess in like how some of the McFarlane ones were a mess in other ways.
Yeah, where like the articulation just didn't work.
Yeah,
that was the big
it didn't
problem.
Work, and then it would crumble sometimes. Mm-hmm. With these, they don't crumble. They're sturdy as shit, but they're like the hands will pop off super easy.
Mm-hmm.
The guns are made of the worst rubbery type composite plastic I've ever experienced. Worse than anything Marvel Legends has ever done.
Damn.
Like awful. It's awful to the point where some of the guns you can't even have them two-hand because the other hand will start bending the gun.
That's the other problem is the range of motion on these figures is just terrible because like a lot of them
awful.
Do they not have a bicep swivel? I think they don't have a bicep swivel or something.
No, they do. They have a bicep swivel.
There's something
and they have
that doesn't allow them to shoulder the rifle correctly.
Because I remember the bulk of it's mostly the bulk of the sculpt.
Gotcha.
But it's also due to the lack of swivel or ab crunch that you have in the diaphragm, and you'll see in the photos. I took the figure apart. I popped the top off.
Yeah.
And I pointed out where you see the front of his torso. If you Dremel that all out and the part of the back portion, you'll have a regular ab crunch. Why didn't they just do that? And they continuously have not done that.
Yeah, they haven't. So exactly the same issues that I had with this figure, with the Halo Infinite Master Chief from Wave 1, because you remember I got that a couple Christmases ago. It's the same issues that they still have now. It's like they didn't even try to go back and learn from the mistakes of the previous waves. And you can do that. That's part of what us in Invincible Toys, that's something we've been doing, which your updates, we just sent out some updates because we just received, what do they call them? The test shots. Like we just received a couple more because they're tweaking things. And that's part of what's been, kind of slowing things down is the tweaking process post-COVID. Or actually with COVID, because over in China, it's a whole different situation. But anyway, tweaking things and re-engineering your figure when you find a flaw, it's possible. You work in the 3D programs first, and then you go and you make your tweaks with all your molds, your casts, or if you're 3D printing, you just 3D print and you iterate, and that's it. It seems like these guys don't do that. And like, remember Bobby Valla was talking about how when he worked for Jazzwares, he was amazed at how fast they were fabricating figures.
Yeah.
And then here it's Jazzwares, they can quickly fabricate, which means they could quickly correct the mistakes, and they're just not doing it. You know what I mean? So yeah, they earned a place here. Fuck that line, which sucks because I like Jazzwares. I like
Jazzwares too.
Yeah, I like
him too, but it's like, and I know this is like a division. Cool Toys is like a subdivision of Jazzwares, but
of course,
like, and that's the thing. That's why I think I'm so mad at them.
Yeah.
With this line, because visually they're gorgeous figures. The textures are there. The visual of the actual like in hand model of a character is great.
Yeah.
As soon as you touch them, though, like you bend the knees, and the knee joints look disgusting. They're awful. You can't get the arm straight. I pointed that out in the knee and the arm joint. You can't get the arm all the way straight. He's still always bent a little.
Yeah.
So when you try to have him shoot with a straight arm, you can't.
Yep.
It's just, I don't know. The head barely articulates, even with the range of motion. At least, especially on this figure, it's very frozen on mine. And I've tried to heat it up multiple times, it's just not working. I haven't had any breakage issues with any of these.
Oh, they're chunky as shit. Their joints are so chunky.
Yeah,
they better not break.
exactly. They're durable figures. There's a lot of functionality and a lot of fun factor that's just not there.
Yeah.
They're a frustrating toy.
Yeah. And it's
You'll
weird.
see them in store on the peg, and you'll be like, "Ooh, that looks pretty damn good."
Shit, I've done it. I saw a couple. I saw Linda, which I have the Mattel ones of like almost everybody I wanted. Like so, what is it? Blue Team and Fire Team Osiris. All I'm missing is Tanaka from Fire Team Osiris. But I like the Mattel ones. I think they were underrated as fuck, even though sometimes we had bad QC issues where like the first time I got Locke, he had two left feet. So it was like what? And but then his armor pieces were for a right and a left. So I couldn't put the armor on, so I had to take him back and get, a better one. But they had issues, but they worked. The articulation worked. There, if you wanted the armor to stay on and you didn't want to ever take it off, you could just glue it on, and it would stay on. It was fine. If you, I have some like Jerome, and his armor doesn't fall off from me. But just trying to, I saw Linda in the store, and I was like, damn, that looks really good, because their paint jobs kicked the shit out of the Mattel ones. The Mattel ones were just cast in whatever color they were supposed to have, and yeah, past the paint job and the look of the figure, it's like the engineering just fails all of these sculpts because they just fall apart once you, like, under scrutiny they fall apart. They don't physically fall apart, but yeah, that's the worst. That's the worst. You don't want that to be the case when it comes to your figures. And next up, we're talking about Marvel Legends Toad. It's a character we want, but the way they handled this is not the way to do it, because it's an overpriced, kind of under-engineered, under-sculpted figure. And I know there's going to be the purists that are going to say all this crazy shit, but when you look at what McFarlane puts out for less money, and then you look at this, these look like kids' toys. These are almost Happy Meal level toys, like in comparison. And yeah, Toad, nah. Nah.
It should be called Toad. It should be called Turd. Because this thing, price-wise, is absolutely stupid.
Yeah, like
I mean, I thought the classifieds price for Sarge was stupid. This is stupider.
Yeah.
This is terrible.
Now, if they had dropped the price, if he was a $20 figure or $24.99 or something, I'd be like, okay,
yeah, that
better.
would make sense.
Yeah, but they're still doing that shit where they try to rob you, and you still got.
They're trying to sell you on the nostalgia of a toy line that wasn't even Hasbro's toy line to begin with, which is, I think, ludicrous on Hasbro's part to sell a Toy Biz throwback. It's stupid.
Yeah.
I think it's bad business. It looks stupid ethically. That's one thing.
They don't care about.
You get a crappy backdrop that's cardboard and a shitty ass stand that says Marvel Legends on it. And they're gonna sell those stands separately down the road for like $5 a piece or some nonsense.
Of course.
You get a body that's not even. This is the other thing. You're doing a throwback to the Toy Biz. This isn't even remotely the same throwback figure to the Toy Biz version.
Yeah, not the paint job, nothing. I mean, it's the character,
nothing.
And that's it.
The build of the quality of the figure is not even close. The sculpt, the height, like I said, the build, the head sculpt is completely something else. It's like off of modern artwork or something. I don't know what the.
Looks like Rob Liefeld. Rob Liefeld artwork. That's what I see. I can find the picture. I remember it. Yeah, it looks like Rob Liefeld.
I believe you. He comes with two little toad frogs, and that's it.
Yeah.
And some hands.
It just doesn't feel like.
Come on, man.
It's not
worth it. What are we doing here?
Yeah, it's not worth it. It's just not. I mean, again, it's classic Hasbro. This is what they do. Instead of giving you quality, they want to give you shit in a decent package. You know what I mean? in a passable package, and that's why they end up on this kind of a list, because that's not good enough, you know.
And just to close up, I could see if Toad had already been released single carded.
Yeah.
And this is just like some sort of like exclusive that you don't need to get. It's just like it's in retro packaging. But this is his first time in the line. You don't do this to a character that's his first time in the line. You can do this with Cap. You can do this with Iron Man. You can do this with Black Panther. You can do this with all the mainstay major characters. But with a first time in the line character that hasn't been produced since the Toy Biz Wave 1, you don't do this here. This is a bad marketing. This is a stupid decision.
Yeah, it's bad business. Bad business, which is what Hasbro is all about these days, unfortunately. Just bad business. All right. And next up is the Classifieds Dusty figure. Who's real dusty? This dusty ass figure.
Yes, that's right, baby.
He's dusty as hell.
This dust sucks so bad I'm gonna throw him out the bay window, baby. Piece of shit, son of a bitch.
A little dusty ass motherfucker.
Dusty bitch. So if any of you out there that are listening do not know, Dusty is my all-time favorite Joe. Okay?
Yep.
He's my A1 since day one, right? So that's why, with a heavy heart, it hurts me to say that this is probably, if there was someone else that's on this list that I'm going to get to later, wasn't number one for me, this might be number one as far as most unfun or / disappointing.
Yeah. Because
the major issues with him, like the elbows and the knees being a totally different color plastic than the rest of the body, is just weird. The amount of brown that's on him, he just looks bland. Like, he's not Dusty, he's Blandy.
Blandy.
He's Blandy. That should be his new name. I actually don't have a problem with his firearm that he comes with, his weapon. I think they did a pretty good job on that.
Yeah.
A little bit of a redesign there, it's fine. Just the amount of blandness that is, like, his backpack is just all brown plastic. It's boring. Get it out of here. The fact that they just went so basic with his entire design, it really sucks, man.
It's the fact that they went back
aesthetically, even just the design of the original had gloves on. He doesn't even come with gloves. What desert trooper is not wearing gloves?
Yeah. Yeah,
in the hot-ass desert, you're not going to wear gloves.
He's too classic in a line where everybody is kind of modern, but they harken back to their classic designs. Like, even one of the guys that you'll see later on, I'm not going to say his name, but when you see him, it, like, visually, the first thing you see is the classic, but when you get up on the figure, you start to see all these details and how they captured the classic look color-wise and, like, the placement of the color, but they updated what the actual garments are. You know what I mean? And, like, that's not what they did with Dusty. Like, he doesn't even have a pistol. He doesn't have a tack belt. He's got the same generic-ass harness. Like, everything that he's missing, you could get Valaverse gear packs and then update the shit out of this figure, and it would push him over the top and make him a better figure 100%.
Yep. Absolutely. You could get the Valaverse, what was it, Desert Ops Trooper?
Yep.
If he's still even available. You can get him. If you can get him.
Which is what you did.
Swap the heads, which, you know, my Dusty, the one that you'll see in these photos, that's kicking the shit out of him and noogieing him, that Dusty is got a different head, but you could take the Hasbro head off of this and it will plug and play with the Valaverse stuff. You can also swap the gloves from Valaverse hands, and they will plug right directly into the Classified's body.
Which would improve
him a lot. So if you wanted to add gloves to your Classifieds and maybe make him look a little bit more presentable,
Yeah, more tactical.
you can do that. Or tactical, exactly. The other issue I have is the helmet sucks. The helmet does not stay on his head. It flops around. It was not meant to be on his head. Next up, the neck. What is this guy part giraffe? I don't know what's going on here.
Yeah, his neck is pretty damn
It's,
long.
it's terrible. Nobody else has this neck in the entire line. I don't know. Did they like? Did they like purposely like tool a neck just for Dusty? They were like, we're just going to give him the Davis Mills neck and call it a day.
Yeah, it's bad.
I just don't get it. It looks, it's an eyesore, and maybe a reason of that is because of the helmet. They didn't want it bumping the shoulders, but I don't know.
Yeah, it shouldn't be like that. They missed
He
a
just
lot of
doesn't-
things.
There's just not enough here where it's really anything to. He's a skippable figure.
It's a
Like
gift.
I wasn't even gonna buy this figure. It was a gift.
Well, and he's your favorite Joe, so you almost that's bad if you don't want to buy your favorite Joe. Because like the way I always quantified this line is get the favorites and skip everything else because we already have. I mean, anyone who's been following us for any amount of time, you know, we went hard about GI Joe. Like second time around for us, we went extremely hard when it came to GI Joe. So we have all the Joes that we ever wanted in the 4-inch. Got the vehicles. We've got many of the Joes. We have their various iterations that we like, and there's really to me there's no need to really jump in hard on this line. Like Pursuit of Cobra Dusty kicks the shit out of this Dusty all day long. He's
all
got
up and down, left, right, center.
yeah. I mean like he's not the figure itself is not 100% perfect, but at least it's more interesting. You know what I mean? Like he has articulation, some articulation areas that could be improved, and you could probably fix those things with Marauders, you know. But
Sure.
But still, it's a more interesting figure. What your custom that you did with Marauders, I mean with Valaverse, he's more interesting than this. He looks like the sideshow 12-inch Dusty that was modernized. Do you remember how they were doing that back in those days?
Yeah, I own that Dusty. He's amazing.
It's an amazing figure, and he comes with a lot of this stuff because they modernized. All the gear is still there. It's still gear sets that people use. It's just a matter of using the right gear set to fit the right character and then color it so that it's reminiscent of, you know, the Joe that it's supposed to represent. And for some reason, this team with certain characters, and I don't know if it's more because of the fans. You know, you have a lot of fans that they're all about the nostalgia and they never move past it. Or is it because the design team was afraid of the potential backlash? But it's like this one was autopilot. They didn't really try. They were like, let's just give them a 25th anniversary Dusty in 6-inch and call it a day. So yeah,
and it just looks like he's unprepared for work. Like he doesn't like you. If you look at Wave 1 Duke, Wave 1 Duke comes with everything you need for a Duke. He comes with his binoculars. The only thing he doesn't come with is a helmet.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
He doesn't come with a friggin' helmet. That's the only thing he's missing.
He's Duke.
When you look at the rest of the Joes and even the Cobras, like look at Firefly, what they gave him. He's amazing.
No, look at the Cobra Trooper or the Cobra Officer. They come with the Officer specifically. That's the one with the goggles and shit. That
he comes with like removable parts on his rifle, like for the optics and stuff. I'm like,
and that's just
you did all of that with a
for
trooper.
a fucking trooper. He's not even a face character, and he has all that shit going on. So yeah,
look at Alley Viper. Alley Viper comes with everything he needs.
Yeah, he better. I mean, Alley Viper's kind of one of those like those face villains. Even though some people like to army build him, I still see him as a singular trooper, and like. He still, like, they made him come with everything. They even improved the way you connect the grapnel gun on his backpack. Because, you know, for all the little versions, the 4-inch versions, that shit sucks. Either they omit it altogether and it can't be removed, or when it can be removed, it doesn't stay on the backpack at all.
Exactly. It would peg in for a second and pop right off.
Pop right the fuck off, yep. But yeah,
And I want to say this to a lot of the GI Joe collectors out there that are these purists that think that we can't get out of the '80s. I want to say this directly to all of you. Okay, the more that you guys ask for this blandness, this same shit over and over and over again,
yeah,
the more you're just going to continue to hold the brand back. Because
exactly.
Hasbro's a corporation. Corporations are going to give you only nostalgia.
Well,
If you don't ask for anything
exactly.
in an evolutionary thing, you're never going to get any evolution out of this toy line. You're never going to get any sort of progressive designs or anything. You're never going to get, because Hasbro's not going to take risks. They're not going to do anything outside the box.
Yeah.
They're just not going to try it.
Yeah.
Because they're scared to death.
Well, they need to know that they'll get a return on their investment. And if all you ever ask for is the same old, nostalgia bait shit, it's 2023 and we're still getting 1984 and 85 designs for Joes. Like, right now, like, you look at Valaverse exists, and you look at what he's doing, and then Hasbro is still listening to fools, that little vocal minority that's still saying, all I ever want is 1985, 1984 Joes. Like, that time has long since passed. You know what I mean? Like, it's
yeah, get the fuck
past.
Over it, people.
Yeah,
it's not the fucking Cold War anymore.
Yeah, and you're holding it back, like you said. You're holding back the line by sticking to that.
You're holding back
belief.
Creativity is what you're doing.
Yep.
You're literally holding back people that are out there that can write a script for a better G.I. Joe movie that you're probably never going to get because you want 1980 shit.
Yeah. So,
Wake up.
Yeah. You gotta switch it up, because I mean, we've only preached this for like what, 12, 13 years. We've been saying this same shit forever. You guys we gotta get past that shit. We gotta move past the nostalgia thing, because they're just gonna keep selling you the nostalgia, and they're not gonna improve it until you make them have to improve it. Show them that we want more, that we can be discriminating with our taste. And then they'll update shit, because they have to, because they want to make money. They're in the business of making a product so they can make money, and we are the target audience. That's the way it works. But that's why.
And how do you know you won't like something that's different until you try it?
Yeah.
It's no different from when you're a kid and you're growing up, and your mom's like, "Here, try this fish. Maybe you'll like it." And you're like, "I don't want to try it. It's gross." And your mom's like, "How do you know it's gross? You haven't tried it."
Yeah. But you
gotta try other things. Have to expand your horizons, or you're just going to be doomed to continue the same thing over and over and over and over and over again.
Yep, pure stagnation.
It's literally the definition of insanity.
Yeah, doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. Yeah. Yeah. So now we get to go into territory where I get to complain. So our number 2 is the recent Winter Soldier update, where they made him black instead of brown. Like, his costume is black instead of brown, and he has the head sculpt that's more accurate and nothing else really. I mean, the weapons are cool, but you could have sold those weapons in a weapons pack and we'd all have been happy, but they never do that kind of shit. But overall, the head sculpts are awesome, but the figure is exactly the same shit we got back in that Winter Soldier wave, way back when Captain America the Winter Soldier first came out. You would have thought that they would have updated something. The body type, given more of a G.I. Joe Classifieds kind of feel. He is extremely military. I don't know why they didn't do it. And what's even weirder is he has less paint applications on the new figure than the old one did. Case in point, on his wrists he had like bullets, and they were like gold, and then there was like a black wash around it, but it was a clean black wash. The new one, zero paint. There's no definition between the wrist guards and the rest of the figure's arms. On the new one, or I'm sorry, the old one, there was like panel lining on his cybernetic arm. And then on the new one, it's just that generic marbleized silver plastic that they always use. Even where the star is like off center for his shoulder. He just looks kind of cheap, you know. And then he
That's the one that comes with the two pistols, a knife, a rifle, and an extra head, right?
Yep, yep.
Okay.
Yeah,
Make sure I was looking at the right one.
yeah. I was so geeked about him because I missed out on the Noda Studio one, which some people have said they've paid for it and they never got it because we would have been seeing pictures of him all over Instagram and shit. But yeah, I missed out on that one and I really wanted it. So I was like, shit, I'll just get this one and I should be good. And nah. Nah, Hasbro did their usual bullshit where it's like you're getting like the fucking Aldi's version of the Winter Soldier instead of getting like an updated, like a truly updated figure. I mean, when you look at Worthy Cap and then look at the previous Cap that we got for what would he have been for? Not Endgame, but the Age of Ultron one, or the Civil War one. That was actually the last single Cap before we got the stuff that goes to Infinity War and Endgame. But when you look at those two, even the Infinity War Cap and the Endgame Cap, they're two different figures. You know what I mean? Like they're not 100% the same. The sculpt, there's things that are different. You know, they actually put some time in capturing the difference in the character. Shit, look at the Bucky from the Winter Soldier, from Falcon and the Winter Soldier. It's a completely different figure. They updated him. It's none of it is the figure we got in Infinity War. So it's just kind of a shame that they didn't take that opportunity to do that. It was like a huge disappointment for me. So yeah, that's why he's on the list.
And I feel like they also did that last year with the re-release of the Black Panther first wave. They just re-released the whole first wave.
Yep, lazy as fuck.
And that's super fucking lazy. Like and those just sat there in the pegs.
I know, right? It's kind of sad.
A very long time.
I didn't get to. By the time I saw him,
product could have been on there.
Yep.
You know?
By the time I saw him, because I would have picked up a couple more Dora Milaje. I have I think I have 4 of them. I'd love to have 6, but yeah. By the time I saw him, there were no more Doras, and I think all I kept seeing was M'Baku. He's still on the shelves now.
Yeah,
M'Baku.
He's chilling.
Yep.
He's holding it down on those pegs. He's like, these are my pegs.
Which is crazy because he's another one.
No one will take them from me.
Yeah, I know, right? He got new armor in the new movie, and they didn't even make an update. I mean, they'll probably do it in like 2 or 3 years because you know how Hasbro does. All the hype, everybody's not thinking about it, and then they're like, "Hey, guess what? Here's that thing you wanted." The movie you should be getting the figures while the movie is in theaters, and they keep failing on that front. It's not hard, you know, especially when the reason why we want this is because the company actually used to do it. You know, I remember the first like Marvel movie figure that I got, or he's probably like it's the first one, was Blade, and I got Blade right after I watched the movie. It was one of the first figures I bought when I moved here, and they've dropped the ball since Toy Biz. They've really dropped the ball. You remember the shit we went through with the Captain America, Winter Soldier wave, then the Civil War wave, like. They kept fucking up, and the figures would show up way after the release of the movie. I don't know why that's so difficult for them. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, as far as most the releases for Marvel Legends, and even just Hasbro in general for last year, it was a really down year for them.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it wasn't a very impressive year. I think they fired like 30%, and this is something to bring up too. I know this doesn't really have much to do with the list, and maybe I'm going off on a tangent a little bit here, but it is something that needs to be said about Hasbro, is that they just fired 30% of their workforce.
Yep.
And that's not good.
No, it's not.
I've been in that situation with a company, and they fired 15% of their workforce, and that's quite a bit of people.
Yeah, same here. Remember, I had that happen right before you did, and I had to
maybe
get out.
some of that is for the better. I'll be honest. Maybe some people deserve to lose their jobs because they weren't doing it properly. But on the other hand, it doesn't look good upon a company when they start firing that percentage of people. That's a large percentage of people.
Yeah, it's bad. It's pretty bad.
It's pretty bad. That means that there's a lot of people making a lot of decisions that don't have an idea of what they're doing, and now they have to try and search for new people to figure out how to fix it.
Yeah,
So
that's true. And it's clearly it's affecting the figures. I mean,
yeah, it's definitely affecting the figures. It's affecting, what choices are being made as far as what waves are coming out. It depends, and it also affects on what character choices you're getting,
yeah,
what re-releases you're getting. Clearly you saw that the Black Series had their issues with doing holiday themed characters that
Jesus
zero
Christ,
people asked.
Jesus,
I'm pretty sure no collector on the face of the planet was like, you know what, I want a cat version Halloween themed Chewbacca. That's what I've always wanted in my life.
Now we've come to the end of the shit pile that we've been wading through. One most unfun figure, and it is the Mezco Conan. So why did you? This is actually ODC's pick. So I didn't get Conan. I've been fucking striking fucking Mezco because I'm still waiting for my Batman '89. But I think you ordered this around the time that we pre-ordered Batman '89, right?
Correct. It was actually before Batman '89.
Yeah. So tell us about this figure.
I waited just over 2 years for this figure. Wasn't told about any changes of the figure. Now the figure itself didn't change that much, but what he came with did change. Now a lot of people might say, "Oh, it's not that big of a deal," but to me it is. When I'm waiting over 2 years for a figure to come out that I already put money down on, and then I'm paying $100 for a figure.
Yeah.
And on top of that, you can't cancel your pre-order because you'll never get the figure because it's sold out everywhere. It's been sold out for over 2 years.
Yeah.
And B, you'll never get your deposit back, which
No.
at the time was for I think it was like $25.
Yeah.
But still, and I know that might, to a lot of elitist people out there, might not seem like a lot of money, but that's an action figure right there.
Yeah.
I just put money down on an action figure that costs $100, and essentially I'm putting another down payment for another action figure I could have got. So when you think about it, it is a lot of money.
Yep.
It's a big investment you're making.
Yep.
Mezco is an investment toy.
Yep.
You're investing in a toy. It's not really going to be the most fun toy. We already know that. That's where I think it starts with Mezco, and why I have a Mezco at number one as far as the most unfun.
Yeah.
Is because the figure is single jointed elbows. What in the hell is going on? You gave me a Conan figure with single jointed elbows.
Yeah.
It's not. His range of motion isn't all that great. The body, there's loose joints in the ankles that I got on mine straight out of package. Some of the accessories are cool, and aesthetically he looks fantastic. I love the extra head. There's good stuff about him, but the negatives outweigh the positives when you look at it as a whole.
Yeah.
The cape that he came and the cloak that he came with, and I said this in my review, it's atrocious. It's some of the worst stuff I've ever seen. The soft goods, anything. His loincloth is trash. Both the loincloths. And you have to be super duper careful with both loincloths. They have a little elastic band on each side, and the way it's kind of sewn in is really chintzy. And I damn near almost like snapped mine off trying to get it over his childbearing hips. Because the way he's set up, you can't pop the leg off.
Yeah.
You can't remove any piece. He's not modular. So you have to like slowly and carefully put his loincloth on if you want to swap the loincloth. I don't trust it. I don't think the figure has good longevity. The loincloths and the cape that he does come with looks like it was made by a 5-year-old that with scissors.
I know, the cuts look kind of bad.
Fabric and bought a bunch of fucking crappy, like cheap fabric and cut it up with a scissor and there's your fabric. The presentation is trash. I don't like it. You know, packaging. Who cares about? I don't care about packaging. It's about the figure. You don't buy a figure for packaging. And while Mezco's packaging is cool at times,
yeah, they do some nice shit.
Sell me the figure.
Yeah, they do some nice shit, but like, yeah, it's about the figure. I agree.
It's the overall presentation of the figure. The accessories are very lackluster when it comes to the cloth goods. The articulation's lackluster. The range of motion's lackluster. I mean, that's failure right there to me.
Yeah, I mean, and it's weird because this is a figure that got pretty high praise, but when you really look at it, it's like, I don't know.
And no brand new figure should come with loose joints that you paid $100 for.
I agree.
Sorry.
Once you get,
if I bought a hot toy and it came with a bunch of loose legs and limbs falling off, I'm sending it back.
Yeah. Once you get into that $100 or more territory, you should not be having dumb shit like that. And in the past, you did not have that problem. Like, I bought Figuarts and actually, I don't think I have $100 Figuarts. I have one that was close, but like Figmas, any of the Figmas I've paid almost $100 for, no issues. Definitely nothing like that. No loose joints, and they got tons of joints. No loose joints. Everything worked the way it was supposed to work. The joint tolerances all made sense. Like, you get your money's worth.
Yeah, and you'll see in the photos that we post on here, you'll see, I even did a comparison with the old Toy Biz Conan from that way back in the Legendary Superheroes days.
Yep.
You can compare that or with a Staction McFarlane Conan, and those are, I'm sorry to say, superior in ways.
Yeah.
I don't have any loose joints on my Toy Biz Conan. And while that figure does have limitations, you're comparing a figure that is what? 15, 16 years old?
Yeah.
Maybe longer, maybe almost pushing 20 years old.
Yeah, I would agree. Yeah.
To a figure that just came out that cost $100, it's a premium action figure? Come on. There's nothing premium about it, I'm telling you.
I agree.
And while there's a lot of Mezcos that are really good, like all the Batman I got,
yeah,
the Batman's trumped this figure in every conceivable way.
That's true. That Batman trilogy is some of the best.
They made you wait, and then they rushed it out, and they didn't even tell you about the changes that they made to the figure. And that's bullshit. I should know.
I agree.
That pissed me off. So, yeah, every time I look at that figure, it pisses me off. I got half a mind to sell it.
Yeah. I feel you. And that is why it is on the list. And now, as is often the case with these kinds of things, we have waded through all the bullshit and we have gotten to the fun shit. This is where things get brighter instead of being so dark. I mean, nothing was really terrible, but some of it was execution. Here, this is where the joy starts. We finally get to get to some good shit. Oh, shit. So, we're jumping into the fun now, and I figure we'll start off with one that's a little bit controversial, and that is Ecliptor and Astronema. This is Astronema Take 2. Yeah.
Thank God they made it Take 2.
I know, right? Like, this figure was just a huge improvement over the previous one in almost every area, because in general, the figure itself wasn't too bad. It's just her face. I still have problems with the body slightly. I wish they kind of stylized the body a little bit more, but I'll take it. It works. And then the face now looks like Melody Perkins. And then on top of that, freaking Ecliptor is fucking insane. He's awesome. He's like perfect. There's really not much else to ask for with him. So yeah, I'm super happy about this figure and these figures, and yeah, they're starting off our fun section.
Yeah, I like this 2-pack. Looks good. Overall, Ecliptor is fun. He looks the part. That's about it. If I could just piggyback off of what you said, I would say that maybe they should make her not on like this little teen body. That's a little weird.
Yeah.
Maybe make her look a little bit more voluptuous. That'd be nice.
Yeah.
Make her look like a woman, not a teenager.
I agree.
That's about it, really. I mean, there's nothing really left to say besides it's a good 2-pack.
Yeah, yeah, they did the damn thing here. So our next up is Ultraman Tiga, and this was ODC's pick. So what was the deal? It's a Figuarts, because you know Figuarts, they've kind of annulled the whole Ultra Act line, and they just kind of folded it into the regular SH Figuarts line. So if you've watched my channel, you already know I love Figuarts. So what'd you think? What'd you think? What were the qualifications that made this one hit your list?
Yeah, I think it's the almost like rubbery body on him. It makes it so much easier to articulate him. It's, I don't know, he's just so simple to articulate, where like older Figuarts would be like rubbing a little bit with the plastic.
Yeah.
This doesn't really have any rubbage issues.
Yep.
And he just comes with everything he needs to come with. Like, the power suit is one of my favorite forms for him, so it fits that need, and I love the light piping in his eyes.
Yeah, that was a good touch.
There's really not too much to say about a Figuarts. You know what you're getting yourself into.
Yeah.
I bought him for $60. I think that's a good price.
Yeah.
And yeah, he's definitely one of the best, and I don't hear anybody talking about him.
Yeah.
Too much, to be honest with you.
Yeah, except for like the actual fans of Ultraman, but they say that they get crazy about all the releases. So yeah, he does deserve more shine. He does deserve more shine. This is a really good looking figure, and he poses well. And there's so many little subtleties to him. Yeah, he had to get on one of these lists. He just had to. And so next up we have Lord Bardrick from Mythic Legions and his mount Adler. So this one, we both have Adler. I'm sorry, we both have Bardrick, but ODC has Adler, and I do not have Adler yet. I want to get him. I'm actually searching around to get him. Probably sometime next month I should be getting him. But these two are pretty damn dope. Pretty damn dope. Since you're the Mythic Legions person, you're like the pusher man when it comes to Mythic Legions for me, because I'm gonna let you take it away.
Come on!
I know, right?
Give him more fix.
I know. I got you. I got you.
I got you, baby. Come on now.
The first one's free. Oh.
First one's free, but I'm gonna have to slap a bitch if you don't got my money next time.
Oh my God. So yeah, man, go ahead, Gush, give people the rundown on how awesome this guy is, because these two.
Lord Bardrick, he is top tier, I think, as far as not only Mythic Legions, but I really don't hear enough people giving him his props. A lot of people are focusing on Dubon, which is coming out in the future, but I think Lord Bardrick he's got his own new body. Like, that's his body. He's a larger elf on top of that, so he stands apart from all the other elves.
Yeah.
Which is cool. His backstory is awesome. He's a friggin' vampire hunter.
Yeah.
Literally all the other elves come to him for help because they can't handle it.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. He's the guy. The only thing I just wish he came with was his own signature weapon. Like, they gave him that axe, and that's fine, and it fits the aesthetic, but a lot of other elves have that axe.
Yeah.
So
I agree. That's my gripe with
his
a
head
lot
sculpt is top notch.
Hell yeah.
The armor is aces.
Yeah.
I don't know what else to say about Bardrick.
Yeah, he's a well done figure. Well done. I mean, like, there are elements. I always have some issues with Mythic Legions because I want like maximum posability and shit like that, but I'm starting to see that like you're getting character and you're getting, a really awesome sculpt, and you're getting that old school kind of play pattern with your figure, you know what I mean, where he's It's chunky and tough, and you can get most poses, but you don't need to do anything like super complicated with him. It's just like put the weapon in his hand and let him go to work. Like
Yeah,
it's kind of simple.
exactly.
And with Adler, it's just like you complete the look with them. So yeah, it's a win. He's all
It
win,
is.
all fucking win.
And Alder, he is. I'm telling you right now, like the whatever photos you see online does not do him any justice. He's larger than the actual other steeds and horses that Mythic Legions. He's actually taller, and his head is huge. Like I don't think I can say how big he takes up 3/4 of my Mythic Legion shelf for all my elves. Like he's larger than you think, and
Yeah.
his horns or his antlers, excuse me, um, can actually carry two dwarfs on both sides. So you can set two dwarfs on his antlers, and they'll sit there perfectly. Like it's
That's crazy.
yeah, it's such a well engineered figure. The detail on it is top notch. He's yeah, it's it's so good. It's just so good. As soon as I saw there was a friggin' moose coming out, I was like, I'm getting that moose. If I
Yeah.
don't get anything else, I'm getting that moose. That's
Yeah,
it.
I kind of felt the same way, and then like I always slow roll, and I need to not do that. But yeah, I felt the same way because I did that with what are they boss fight Vitruvian hacks. I got the moose that they had in that line. Well, he's more of like a giant deer. It's not really a moose, but similar, very similar kind of aesthetic. But yeah, he's awesome. He's awesome. We had to gush a little bit. That's why he's on the list. All right, and next up we are talking about the arc from what was that? Kingdom? I think it's War for
Yes.
Cybertron, Siege Kingdom. Um, I don't know. This thing was kind of a grail because it's a piece that we've seen in the show, we've seen it in the movie, and up until now, you couldn't get it in toy form. I mean, you could get things that kind of took the place of the arc, like those little. Remember, they had those little sets that were like armor for Bumblebee or somebody, and it was shaped like the arc, but it wasn't a giant ship, you know, like this
Yeah.
is. And then now this actually turns into a big ass robot that's comparable to fucking Omega Supreme. And it comes with mainframe, which is Teletran 1 transformed into a bot mode. And it's got all these nice little you know extras like the disc, the Sounds of Earth disc that we sent off into space back in the 80s. You remember that?
Yeah.
It actually comes with that shit. I was like, I don't know. It's just nuts, man. I couldn't believe it when just seeing these tiny little things. I don't know. It's one of those things where if you're a dork for Transformers, I think it's a must-have. For me, it was definitely a must-have.
It's a definitely one I regret not getting.
Yeah.
Um, I kind of, I guess, blew my wad with Omega Supreme the year prior. So I was like, okay, I have too many Titans.
Well, you also have don't you
I
have
have
all
four,
of them?
I have Fort Max and I have Omega Supreme.
Yeah.
And I have, what was it, a couple third party, like, combiners.
Well, you
So
have
I'm just like, yeah,
you have what's his face? Triptychon also.
yeah, and Trypticon too. So I'm like, there's only so much space I have. Like, I gotta say no to something here. So I'm good. Like, so, but he looks great. I love the way he's such an easy transformation from what I've seen.
I know, and
Like,
people
it's like
people had issues with
seamless.
that. People had issues with that, and I'm like, not every transformation has to be fucking ridiculously complicated. Where you're like, you got to do some today, stop, and do some tomorrow, and by the end of the week, you're finished. Like, no, not every transformation has to be that involved. Some of them need to be quick and kind of easy, so you can play and
Yeah.
enjoy the toy.
Yeah, and it even comes with like, doesn't he come with like a little Optimus Prime?
Hell yeah! Well, he's a little Optimus
That's fun.
Prime and a little, I think, Bumblebee, and
That's fucking awesome.
they can stand at the bridge of the actual, like if you pull back the front of the ship, you can see the bridge when he's in ship mode and see where all the Autobots would be standing and controlling the ship and whatnot. It's awesome, man.
That was great.
It's like Christmas Day when you were a little kid, you know, like big
Yeah.
box, big figure, all kinds of play options. It's just, I don't know, it's dope. Next up, we couldn't have a list and not have Joy Toy on it, and we have the Shadow Wing Hunter and the Shadow Wing Enforcer. Um, you did you get these also, or
No.
you were trying to get these? I couldn't remember what happened.
Trying to. I haven't gotten them yet.
Okay. Um, so unfortunately, then this is one that I have that he doesn't have, but we both.
Yeah. So, long story short on this. Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt there.
No, you're good. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Um, I pre-ordered it. I pre-ordered this through Amazon, and because Joy Toy, or I'm sorry, not Joy Toy, Locker Toys was sold out.
Yeah, they went fast.
I pre-ordered it through Amazon, and then it got canceled. They Target exclusive canceled me for Amazon.
For Amazon, yeah.
Yeah. So I really wanted this one, especially the Shadow Wing Hunter specifically. I really wanted him, but yeah, I missed out.
That's a great set. I mean, I think every now and then Locker Toys pops these back up, so you may be able to find them again, and they do pop up on Amazon every now and then also. But
Yeah.
I just number one, I saw the I think the Enforcer is the white one. Um, I wanted it to go with my Viper team, and I when I first saw it, I was like, "Yo, I'm gonna make this one into Betty's armor because Betty's costume looked too low tech to go along with the rest of her team." And I had this idea that I would use the Hunter and the Enforcer to be like the leader figures to go with two different teams. One to go with the Spartan team that was all green, which was going to be my future Fenris company. I had been waiting for that shit, like for a green themed future, set of Joy Toy characters, and then the other one would go with the Viper team, and Betty would be that character. So I ended up customizing the Enforcer, the white suit, to fit the female body. So the torso is a female torso, and I can fit Betty's head on that body, and it works. Everything works perfectly. Like I don't have to worry about swapping parts or anything like that. I was able to do it pretty easily with no issues, and putting her with the rest of the Viper team looks awesome. And then with the Hunter, he looks pretty dope with the Spartan team because they it feels like they somehow should be, I don't know, together. You know what I mean? It almost feels like they're part of the same unit. So I made them kind of my future update to Fenris Company, and that's the weaponsmith like armor set that that he wears leading his team in the future. So I don't know. These guys worked perfectly for me. They had all the aesthetics that I'm looking for in Joy Toy shit, and they had to go on the list because I do play with them a lot, like a lot. Me and my son like been playing all kinds of shit where we mix up the Fortnite guys with the Joy Toy guys, and like I don't know, it's fun. So yeah, they had they had to have a place on this list. Next up, we're gonna give some love to the classifieds, and we're gonna be talking about Spirit, Charlie Iron Knife. Um, I just think
Good
this
old
figure,
Chuck.
Chuck, I know, right? I think they did such a good job with him. Like it's what I've been saying is how you re-envision some of these designs, or you update some of the classic designs with modern gear. Is that you just keep the color palette and the placement of the colors, and then you update the particular parts. So instead of wearing, the fucking tunic piece that hangs down, the traditional like warrior tunic piece that hangs down over his BDUs. Just give him the brown BDUs that look like updated gear that you would wear in the field. You know, keep the knife, and I love how he has the ceremonial sheath for his iron knife. But like, they didn't go overboard with all the tassels and all that shit. It's like they wouldn't let you wear that in the field. You know, you gotta modify things. You know, even back when we used to watch Predator, you look at Billy, and Billy just had his headband on, and he had the big ass knife. That's it. That's all you needed to know. Homeboy's native and Native American, and he's about his heritage. You know what I mean? That's a big part of him. His headband gives away a little bit, and you know, kind of the way he carried himself did all the rest of the talking. You didn't need him to be in like full fucking headdress with a bulletproof vest and shit, you know, to get the point across.
Exactly. Yeah, they didn't go too much. I thought they were going to go too traditional.
Yeah.
And they didn't do that. And this is one of the few times where they didn't go too vintage. They kind of stuck right in the middle.
Yep.
He's just, I think he's going to be one of those unicorn figures where now if he would have came out, they would have deluxe priced the shit out of him. You know?
Yeah, definitely.
The price I feel like would have taken away from the fun factor with him, but he is just head to toe, I think, top notch figure. Absolutely.
Yeah.
He's got the look. I love the face sculpt. Face sculpt's one of the better ones I think in the line.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Because of everything he needs. I like that they kind of switched up his designation to sniper.
Yeah. Makes perfect sense.
That fits.
Like somebody was playing Metal Gear.
Yeah, exactly. So, I don't mind the blue shirt. It doesn't really bother.
Well, no, I mean he had
people it bothers them.
the classic. I mean the classic, the you know, a Real American Hero version had a blue shirt on. You know what I mean? That's what I was like homing in on, is the fact that if you were to see him from a distance, he reads like the fucking classic figure. It's just when you get up on him and you see all the details, it's like everything's modernized. You know, he's got the fast draw holster. He's got the what do they call that thing? It's a all the Joes have it on their shoulder or on their belt. The beacon thing for when they get, you know, if something happens to them, you know, you click that.
Yeah, a little like GPS.
A little GPS thing, yeah. And then they all have, you know, a knife somewhere, a tack knife. He's got a tack knife and he's got his ceremonial knife. Like, they just made everything work. And then the fact that he's got the falconer's glove for freedom to land on, and it's got the little pegs for you to put freedom, and freedom. They did a real good job with freedom. That's the best bird that I think we've received. Now, I don't know if they've used that for anyone else since, or maybe before this, but that's great.
All new.
Yeah, it's great. It's great. Like, I love it, man. I was kind of surprised that he had both sets of wings. I wish they had just made him have a couple joints so you could fold the wings up, but you know, I'll take it. It works, you know.
I definitely think across the board, when you compare all of the things from classifieds for the year, I think he is the best package that you're getting.
Yep.
I think he's better than Serpentor. I think he's
yeah.
better than clearly Dusty.
Dusty.
Better than Crocmaster. I just think he's got everything that you could ask for. If you were to get like, get me. If you're like new to the line, you're like, hey, what one figure should I get from last year? Get Spirit.
Yep.
Over anything else.
Next up, we have to gush about all the McFarlane shit we picked up over the past year. I mean, that's the majority of what I bought last year. Was McFarlane stuff. My wife, my son, everybody's just like, hey, you like this stuff, so here, we're gonna get this for you. Do you have this one? Do you have that one? And you know, and whenever I was going to Target, I mean, I was talking to you most of the time, like, yo, this came out, we got to go pick this thing up, you know. And I know you were doing the same thing.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You and I were bouncing off each other like ping pong balls. Like, hey, did you get this one? Oh wait, forgot about that one.
Especially like with some of the more like one-off type characters like Ghostmaker and Talon, for instance, because I wasn't gonna get Talon.
Great figure.
It's a great figure. Yeah, he's a real good figure. And then the wave with
you don't even like the Court of Owls.
Yeah, I don't. And yeah, but I love that figure. I was like, man, they did good. Freaking the Crime Syndicate, they're awesome too. And freaking Commando Spawn. Like, I had been wanting to get him since I first saw that design in Mortal Kombat. What is that, 11 or whatever? And
yeah, something like that.
when I finally saw the figure, I saw him for cheap. Actually, he's one of the few that I didn't get in the store. I got him online, and he was pretty cheap. I mean, he's well under $20, so I was like, yeah, I'm picking this guy up.
You know which one I liked, and I know we're gonna end up spending a lot of time on this. I actually caught me by surprise. It's not my favorite, but I found it in my hand quite a bit. Was the Malefac Spawn.
Who?
There's the Malefac version of Spawn, where it's like if he was an actual. It's like Mortal Kombat's take on Spawn if he were actually a character, an original character in Mortal Kombat. So it was like his.
Oh, with the weird armor.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, I saw that one. I didn't pick him up.
It's original enough where I can respect it. And
yeah.
I don't know. It's essentially the same body as some of the other ones, but like, it's just fun. I don't know why. It's fun.
No, the design's unique enough. No, I know what you mean. Yeah, there's a lot like that. Like the Ninja Spawn is kind of like that too. It's unique enough. Another one that I play with a lot is the Mandarin Spawn, because I had the old one that was all stiff. And to have it, and then now you have articulation, that's a big deal for me. It's like, fuck, man. They actually improved the shit out of an older figure. And the sculpt looks great. I ended up getting two of them. I got the bluish one and then the standard one. I haven't gotten the all, like, crazy armored up one yet. I might if I see it. But yeah, McFarlane, that's been the diet for the last year.
Yeah, it's... And like... Some of the absolute best, I think, for me. If I could just pick one based off of just sculpt and the other one just, well, two off of sculpt. Let's say Swamp Thing is amazing.
Yeah, he's dope.
That is one of the coolest sculpts ever. I mean, you could literally dive into that sculpt, stare at it, and be like, oh, I never saw that part before. You can see, like, new parts.
Yeah.
Over and over again. You'd be like, oh, I didn't even realize they had, like this little piece in the back of him. Something like that.
Yeah.
And then another one was same thing was Clayface. Clayface is one of my favorite McFarlane figures.
Mm-hmm.
Period.
Yeah, it's an awesome figure.
Actually posable. You can pose him. You know, for a larger figure, he's pretty posable.
Yeah.
I love the little screaming faces coming out of his back.
Yeah.
Oh, that is so cool.
Such a cool one.
The fact that like you can get two totally different looks if you open up his jaw or shut it.
Yep.
Like, he almost looks like traditional Clayface, and then you open it, and it's like, he looks like this, like, he looks like the comic. Like, he's more visceral, and, I don't know, he looks horrifying.
Yeah, and that's the stuff McFarlane's good at. They're, like, super good at gnarly, weird details, and, like, it's kind of like, it's given the DC characters the update that they needed. Like, years ago, we needed this for them. So, it's pretty awesome to finally get that. And I mean, this past year, it's like they went ham on releases. I mean, and they're still going. So, you know, that's why I had to make a section for them where it's all about just McFarlane, because otherwise this whole entire list would have just been all the funds would have been McFarlane. You know, we've been here all day.
Can I please just bring up one more before we let you go off the McFarlane stuff? The movie Dr. Fate.
Yeah, holy shit, yeah.
Is an absolute, just gorgeous figure.
Oh, yeah.
And it's fun to play with, too.
Yeah.
So it's the best of both worlds right there.
Hell yeah. Both of them, actually. But yeah, the movie one, like the pattern in his suit and the pattern on the cape, and man.
The cape, it's like so intricate how they got all those little, like, just
the onks.
Details on there.
All those onks everywhere. Yeah, they did a great job. Yeah. Yep. And in the number 4 spot, we've got the Neutrinos. These guys surprised the shit out of me. Number 1, I thought I had missed the window to get them. Number 2, for as skinny and small as they are, they're really sturdy. I mean, they have tiny joints. Like I remember people complaining about the joints of DCUC female characters being skinny and being afraid that they would break them if they bent them too much or something. Like these guys are skinnier than that, and I've had no problems. No, nothing even looked like it was coming close to breaking. So I don't know. They're just a win, and I think the whole set was I think $80. It was either 60 or $80, something like that. Maybe it was 60 something, closer to 70. Um, and they come with so much. They come with hoverboards. They come with a couple of their little like not weapons, but like tools that they used in certain episodes. And then they have these two other smaller characters, you know, like an alien. I can't remember which ones were which because I love them from that first episode that they showed up in, which was called "Hot Rodding Teenagers from Dimension X," and that's like my favorite episode of the whole entire Ninja Turtles. That '80s version of them, but they also fit in my foot cruiser, which I didn't think they would. They fit perfectly. I don't have to do anything. Their legs are short, and they fit in there, and they look right in there. And I don't know. That's dope. It's like I was telling you that because of them, I'm gonna have to get another foot cruiser so that I can paint it. You know, I'll paint the one I have blue, and then paint the other one red, and just call it a day because they look so good. But yeah, NECA really knocked them out of the fucking park. So like, if you see them, you need to pick them up. I know you don't have them, but they're definitely ones you're gonna need to get.
I definitely plan to, because I don't plan on getting the Super 7 ones.
Yeah, they look weird. For some reason,
I just don't want to pay $50 for one.
Yeah, they just don't translate the same in the Super 7. They're like some of the only ones that don't look as cool in Super 7.
I would agree with that.
Yeah. But yeah, man, they're dope.
And I think they're a better size, too, to match
yeah.
up with the rest of the Super 7s.
Yeah, they work for both, you know, the Toon stuff and the Super 7 stuff, which is perfect. So, yeah, I had to put them on the list. I love these guys. All right, so next up, we are going to talk about a figure we both got, and that is Ace Duck. And we didn't just get the Super 7 one, we also got the NECA one. Well, I know I did. Did you get both?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, cool. So, I don't know. I love the figure. Strangely enough, this is an area where it feels like Super 7 eclipses the NECA one, but for different reasons. It's just like, you know, he didn't show up in the cartoon. He was like on a TV screen or something. So like, he doesn't really exist in that universe. So they kind of filled in the blanks based on the toy. But then the Super 7 one is completely based on the toy, and I feel like they knocked it out of the damn park.
Oh, yeah. Big time. Yeah, I love them both equally for different reasons, but objectively, the Super 7 one's better.
Yeah. I never
I
thought I'd
the
say
Super 7
it.
one.
Never thought we'd say that, you know?
Right? Exactly. Subpar 7 wasn't so subpar on this one.
Uh-huh.
But I think with the majority of the Turtle stuff that they make, they do a really good job.
Yeah, I agree.
But yeah, he is just a fun figure to play around with. The only issue I really have with him is that he can't really two-hand. It's really pushing it when I try to get him to two-hand his Tommy gun.
Yeah,
Thompson.
Yeah, it's true.
He's not really built for that.
Yeah.
His body's like too bulky.
Yep.
But it's fine. He's based on the toy that couldn't do it either, so I can kind of let that slide a little bit.
Yeah. But yeah, he's a lot of fun. Yeah, he's a ton of fun. Ton of fun. Okay, and now we're up to, I think this is number 2 on our most fun, and this is a twofer. So it's the deluxe Spawn with his garbage throne, and She Spawn. Now these two, I haven't put them down since I got them. I'm not even gonna lie. Like, I play with them so much. It's ridiculous. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, I love the deluxe spawn so much. I decided to custom paint the throne.
Yeah.
Um, actually, put a video up, and yeah, overall, I think if there's one spawn to get, I think if you want a deluxe throne to come with them, get yourself a custom cape. There's your one spawn that you really need. I think.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. There is another one that's similar. I think it's the one from MK. Was that 11 or whatever? But there's like two versions of them. There's one that's got like the weird texture to them, and then there's the one that's smooth like the comic books version. But like if you can't find that, this one to me is like it's like the movie version that imitates the comic version. You know what I mean? It's got all the texture, and like he's superposable, and you put some of the guns in his hand, the crazy ass guns from the weapons pack, the munitions pack, and you're good to go. It's like everything. And
I concur.
freaking she spawn is fucking phenomenal. Like there's not really much to say about that I haven't already said in the past about that figure. Just she's fun. The build is awesome, and her weapons are nuts, and she just looks like a badass. So it's like, just all win. There's nothing there's nothing more or less that I could ask for from that figure.
Take notice, Hasbro. She actually looks like a woman.
I know, right? All right, and now we're going to move on to the honorable mention section because I've got a lot of figures to talk about. So, World of Halo, awesome line. Every figure that I've been picking up has been a joy to play with, to pose, to look at. I love them. Next up, we got the Mafex Peter B. Parker. Now, this is a figure I got for Christmas. It's something I've been looking at for a minute. I really want the Sentinel version, but my brother-in-law picked this up for me, and it's pretty good. It's pretty good. Not quite Sentinel quality, but it's a good second choice. Next, we have the entire... I love McFarlane. We love McFarlane shit. So, McFarlane Arkham Grundy Wave. I just love it. And then the Build-A-Horse from the Dark Knight Returns wave. Love it. I can use it for other stuff. And as you can see, it works perfectly with that Mezco Dark Knight Returns. Then we have the Joy Toy Boyang and Gregson. I love these two figures. Of the bunch, they were the least generic looking, so I had to pick them up. And you know me, I don't want the generic looking guys. Like the fucking dude in all black with a sword. Like, get that shit out of here. Transformers, the Studio Series stuff from Bumblebee. I love them. They're just all so good. The quality is amazing. The sculpts are amazing. The transformations are nice and simple and fun. I know, like, the hardcores have problems with how simplistic some of these transformations are, but like I told you, I want to be able to transform the figure while I make the sound effects. So if I go, I want to be done relatively close to that sound effect, within that time. And over the years, I've become more of a hardcore Transformers fan. I mean, I don't review every Transformer I get, and since Siege started, my collection has grown exponentially, both third party and, the regular stuff. All Might, Revoltech, Amazing Yamaguchi All Might. I waited a long time for this figure because I missed out on it the first time, and then getting it now, I just am like, he's so much fun to play with. And if I have Deku, I have to have All Might, and then I'm good. I have my fix for My Hero Academia. Oh, I also have the McFarlane All for One too, so more McFarlane stuff. Page Punchers, this is the wave with Shazam, I think it was. The Batman and Superman are perfection. Perfection. I love them. Plain and simple. And next up is ODC's number one. This is his most fun of 2022, and you can take it from here.
Ghostmaker. Yeah, Ghostmaker was one that actually caught me by surprise. Wasn't really a character, I'm going to be honest with you, I was all too familiar with until there was the release
and then I was intrigued by just, I'm not a big ninja person. Everybody knows that, but I was like, oh, I'll read about the character. Character was intriguing enough. There's a little weirdness about the character. Not going to go into all that, but the figure when I got it, I was like, I'll take a shot, and I got one. The articulation is deceivingly good.
Yeah, it's real good.
It looks like he's. When I first saw him, he reminded me of like a DC Collectibles figure that looks really cool, sculpt's really great, and then I was like, he's not going to do what I want him to do. But then he does what you want him to do.
Yep.
He's like the DC Collectibles figure I always wanted.
Yeah, yeah, where the sculpt and the articulation and accessories, everything all works, together perfectly. And the build quality, because he's not, he's not going to break on you anytime soon.
And design-wise, it kind of grew on me. The more I got to know the character, and then the more I was playing around with the figure. And I just can't put that figure down. He's one of those figures that rarely escapes my hands.
Yeah. Whether
I'm having him do, like, flips or, the scabbard works well enough.
Yeah.
It's a little bit hollowed on the one side, but it's not as bad as some of the other figures from McFarlane, where they have it's too hollowed and then the things fall out. Where these don't really fall out of the scabbard, which is good. Mm-hmm. But yeah, he's just really fun to pose, man. Even if you don't like the character, like it's just a really good figure.
Yeah, he's real good. Like he could be a master assassin for the League of Assassins or something. Like
exactly,
he fits. There's a lot of boxes you can check off with him. Yeah, because like I read his first appearance after I got the figure because I didn't like the design. But then when I got the figure, I couldn't put him down either. I was like, yeah, this is a fun figure, and yeah, he just works. And you need better fighters to fight Batman. So like, this works, even though I know he's supposed to be a good guy, but if you don't care about all that shit, I mean, easily you could make him just stay some kind of adversary or he's a rival for Batman, so they can be on, opposite ends of the spectrum essentially and fight each other from time to time. But yeah, it's a super dope figure.
Yeah, it's really good. Yeah, and to your point, like I said, he was a little edgelordy, a little too edgelordy for me, but he grew on me. So objectively, he's a fantastic figure, and if you haven't checked him out, be sure to go check him out.
Yeah, I second that. And my most fun figure of 2022 is a figure that kind of caught me by surprise because I had to wait a little bit for him to get here, and when he got here, I was just like, what the fuck? And you know me, I do like ninjas. I even call you guys my ninjas. And but I don't like how overdone ninjas were in G.I. Joe. But anyway, my number one is the V-Toys Shadow Ninja. And he's a traditional ninja, but everything about him was done pretty right, He's got like display options with the Tengu mask and the hood, and you can put the hood down, you can take the Tengu mask off if you want to. Because it's on a V-Toys body, you could replace this head with some of the other like Marvel Legends style heads and things like that. But there isn't a pose you can really think of that this guy can't do. He can fold his arms, he can do all the stances and shit, and he just looks authentic. Like if you've ever seen a good ninja movie or like cool ninjas in something, he can do all that shit, and I think he's too good to be like a background ninja, but you know how a lot of collectors have that problem, especially the Marvel Legends people. They see a ninja, the ninja's not cool enough to be the main character. The ninja has to be cannon fodder, even if it's a figure this well done. This figure feels like the OG Mezco figures. You pay your 70-something bucks and you get like kind of an event. It's not just a figure. It's like an experience, the cloth goods, so many freaking accessories. The only issue I did have with this figure was the sheath. The sword broke at the hilt. He fell down, and it's like the sword's made of a flimsy material. So I ended up replacing it with a Articulated Icons Ninja sword, and then I glued the sword back together. Um, it's not the greatest, you know, glue job, but it'll do for now. But the articulate icon ninja sword works really well with him. Um, but like the sculpt, the design, all of the pieces, everything just looks like authentic. Like the blade on his sword isn't even silver; it's like black. So it's a completely different kind of approach to, you know, what you normally get in many ways, at least you know visually. Um, and like the sheath, it's a very generic. I shouldn't say generic. It's a very simple sheath. It's a little different from the one from Articulated Icons and the ones we've had from various like Ninja Turtles and stuff like that. So I don't know. It's dope, and the rope is actual rope. It's not a plastic sheath or a plastic rope connected to a plastic sheath. You got a plastic sheath with a real rope attached to it. He comes with some size, and the size look really good. And he has fingers that work with them or hands that work with them. I don't know. He's just all in all like an experience, man. And I couldn't stop posing this dude. I've had him fighting my little Strydent's Fortnite dudes, and like I had him fighting the articulated icon ninjas that I use as the Foot Clan because I got a bunch of purple ones. Um, at one point, I had him because I got the white V-Toys Shadow Ninja, but there's a red one and a black one, and I have them on the way. Um, I just had him fighting Snake Eyes. I had him, you know, because at one point I was like, this would be a cool, like prototype, you know, Storm Shadow before he, you know, gets the more futuristic gear. Then I was like, you know what? I already got a handful of Storm Shadow figures. I don't need to make every white clad ninja be Storm Shadow. So this is my Joe Musashi action figure, and that was the main character in one of my favorite games, which was Shinobi 3 on the Genesis. So this guy is going to be doing all kinds of crazy shit. But yeah, this is one of those times where the figure was done so well, kind of like with the Joe Troopers. Remember the Retaliation Joe Troopers that inspired me to do Fenris Company? This figure's so good, it just inspired situations for me to put him in. And yeah, it's leaps and bounds, you know, better in many ways, from posability to accessories to the complexity of the cloth goods. It's just one of the best things I picked. It's the best thing I picked up all year last year. So that's definitely why he ended up on this list. Now I know that that's a very sound case for why this figure is worth the money, why he is my number one of last year, but I want to go into more detail about why certain figures deserve a better place within your collection when when they hit all the marks. And I'll use my own experience as the example. This figure set out to just be probably the best ninja that you're gonna get, one of the best ninjas that you're gonna get stylistically, from an articulation standpoint, accessory wise, paint wise, everything is top notch. There's nothing lacking on this figure. It is enough of a blank slate that you can add your own story to it, which helps. But if you make him part of anything you have going on, he can fit, you know? Something that I go back and forth with some of my homeboys, like my Landon, my partner in Invincible Toys, is figures standing out from what already exists, but at the same time still having the fun factor and the playability for you to be able to use them together. And in the hands of a skilled photographer, these kinds of figures can kind of bring the quality of your displays and the quality of your photography up, because the soft goods have been crafted to a degree that really makes this look like a little live dude. It almost looks like a 1/6 scale figure, from certain angles, except we know he's shrunken down. And up until recently, that's something that wasn't easy for a lot of companies to do. So the simple fact that they pulled that off here, it deserves a different place in your collection. You know what I'm saying? It deserves that attention. But you can clearly see, if you've ever handled a V-Toys body, they're designed for you to play with. They're very strong. They're not super heavy. So if they fall, they're not going to hit the ground the same way that your other figures will, you know. The joints are pretty thick, so moving them around is fine. They're also very smooth. There's no clicking. There's no frozen joints. At least I've yet to see that. And, you know, if you do something too much, like with the head will come off. You don't have to worry about it. So engineering-wise, the figure does all the things that it needs to do to live in your collection as a ninja, not just in the look and presentation, but in the poses that you can get him in. And for me, that is the mark of a perfect figure. It's got the uniqueness, the engineering, and then all the accessories and paint to back up the presentation. You know what I'm saying? So this is something I wish and I hope all you guys get from these kinds of videos. So anyway, that is it for the most fun and most unfun of 2022. I am so thankful that you guys took the time out of your schedule to sit down and watch this. Thank you so much. It makes this more worthwhile to know some people are watching and paying attention and discussing what's being done in these videos. I do have a couple more things kind of scheduled, so you should be seeing some cool videos, perhaps an Off Our Brains or two, maybe a Q&A. I do want to do one. I haven't done one in years. That'll be fun. But yeah, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Let me know, obviously, in the comments below, what figures were in your top, you know, most fun or, you know, most unfun of 2022. And yeah, we'll all chat about it, you know, amongst ourselves like we normally do. But yeah, that's gonna do it for me, man. That's gonna do it for me. I hope your 2022 was good, and I hope that 2023 turns out to be even better. I mean, that's always the hope every year. You know what I mean? We improve whatever we were doing last year. We're doing it better and bigger this year, or more sustainably in the next year. You know what I'm saying? And we're not stressing as much, because stress is like kryptonite for all of us, you know? Even people who work well under pressure. Ultimately, it's not something you want to be a regular part of your life. So I'm hoping for a chill 2023 and, you know, a lot more fun, chill videos and discussion about the figures that we collect. I'm seeing a lot of what I've been saying for decades now, or for over a decade now, catching on with the rest of you guys, and you all know what I'm talking about. So, you know, it'll be nice to continue that kind of stuff and see that conversation kind of expand to the point where people start thinking. I mean, McFarlane's doing up some big things with the Batmobile and that overpriced Batwing that he released. So I know you guys got things to say about that. So, you know, get in the comments, talk about it, hit me up, we will chat, and we will keep things going. But that is it for me. You guys have been great. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for listening. And I will catch you in the next video. Thanks to ODC for hanging out with me for this. As always, it's a pleasure. I mean, we're doing what we do. And yeah, we'll be doing something like this at some point again, because we're always talking about action figures and shit. So, you know, as always, I look forward to those discussions. But yeah, that is it. I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace outside.